show from a heavy metal perspective. From Danzig to Death, to Dark Throne to Dr. Shrinker. Buckle up, things are about to get heavy. This is the Metal Podcast. Let's rock and roll.
And welcome to another episode of the Metal Podcast, the best weekend show ever, as far as I'm concerned. Nothing better. This is the best show, and if you're not on this show, your life is just not as good, which is why I am here, and my life is enriched because I have the greatest co-host ever. DJ, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I appreciate that introduction. I am fantastic. You know, I could be better, but I also could be worse. So I'm okay with where I'm at. You know, how are you doing?
I'm good. You know, nobody's doing perfect. That's just the way of the world. Everybody's got problems, whether it's you got car trouble or got your mortgage, you got busted pipes. It's getting cold out there. It's not the best time. Daylight savings happened, which I don't like it. Like, it seems nice now, but come spring, it's like
it's tough.
Yeah, messing with your sleep schedule. I mean, honestly, when I say it's nice now, it was only nice because I got a little bit of extra sleep. But
an extra hour,
but I'm gonna go to bed later because it's messed with it.
Well, then it starts getting dark at like 4 o'clock. That's what I'm not excited for. I don't like the fallback part. No.
Well,
hate that.
Yeah, that doesn't upset me so much just because I spend my evenings indoors, so I just don't see it. And this time of year, it's already colder. The outdoor activities, it's just kind of wound down. It's that indoor cozy season's coming. I try to make the best of it, but it's not the worst. We don't need to dwell on this. Let's get to some music talk. I randomly came upon this. I was just perusing the internet as I do sometimes, and I came upon this post on Reddit from r/Let's Talk Music. It was just an innocuous post. I'm like, interesting. The title was, "What happened to the popularization of rock music?" And this is a question I've been asking for a while. So I'll just read this post. It's a really small post, and then I think we can just start our discussion from here. The person writes, "Let's flash back to 2003. Good Charlotte is on the airwaves. Everyone has spiky gelled hair. Skateboarding is the big thing, and rock music dominates the airwaves. Fast forward 10 years later, and rock music, let's just go with a generalized rock in parentheses, seems to be replaced with pop music, with bands like One Republic or Blue October seem to be big in the music circle. Emo music is dying out, and Taylor Swift is huge. But let's fast forward 10 more years. As of now, there's barely any coverage of rock bands in the media. Barely any new rock music breaks the top 10, in parentheses. Rock as in guitars, drums, bass, and a frontman, close parentheses. And the genre is seemingly dead, at least mainstream. Rap, parentheses, is it even still called that? Question mark. Trap, question mark, close parentheses, seems to be the main thing the kids listen to and enjoy, but why? What happened to rock music? What started the decline? How did we get to this point? Why isn't rock music popular among the under 20-year-olds anymore?"
At least there's someone out there that sees it.
Well, if someone else out there sees it, it can't just be us three.
Right. It's going to be more.
Yeah, there's probably a bunch of people, because teenagers to early 20-year-olds, they don't have a grasp of this. They're not out there like, hey, metal had a big revival in the mid-aughts. What happened to that? Like, they weren't around for that, let alone what rock was in the mid 80s to early 90s. People don't have a concept of that. But yeah, I remember when Stacy's Mom was a really big song.
From Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I remember when it came out, I was so irritated by it. But now I have a whole new fondness for it. Like I just see it. It is from a forgotten era, and I remember seeing all the ads for the X Games, and it had Newfound Glory playing. Like, say what you want about emo, but at least it was rock and roll. Like, give it a little more aggressive or edgier vocals, and it'd be on par with a lot of the punk rock bands of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I remember AFI was pretty popular, and that was a band that
AFI was huge.
They had those vocals that was like, oh, music part doesn't sound all that bad, but now it's like, oh man, I'd be fine with AFI being popular again.
Yeah,
what's out there now.
Yeah, Miss Murder was a huge song, and I remember AFI before that. It was like a completely different band. I didn't really have a problem with AFI's vocals, like how that dude used to sing. The Miss Murder era, and I was like, this is everything that's wrong with rock. And then it was kind of a be careful what you wish for moment where I hated all of that. I'm like, where are the balls? Where's the edge? Come on, guys. Like, be tough guys. Like, rock and roll used to be masculine, but now it's so emasculated. Granted, I don't want that to be the thing. I want hard rock and heavy metal to be a front and center as far as rock goes. I don't have a problem with variety, but at this point, like, give me an alternative. Yeah, because this guy says it's all like, yeah, trap. That is interesting that he says that. Like, is it even still called rap? And he uses trap and question mark. Because I've heard that. I just assumed it was something different. But now the way this guy puts it, maybe trap is like it was like the subgenre that took over. I don't know. For all the research we do on rap, we don't really learn about it.
I am aware of trap houses, so I mean, maybe that's part of it with the trap rap stuff.
Well, tell me what trap house is. Educate me and the audience.
Trap house. As far as I'm concerned, it's a place where you do and or manufacture, make like heroin, meth. Like, really, like the lowest, gummiest place you could think of is like a trap house. Probably prostitution goes on there too. So I'm sure like it could be a rich thing as well. But usually you would think of like trailer park, like trash in like a trap house.
Well, could I add one potential? Perhaps a housing project.
Oh, yeah, that could be a housing project as well. Yeah.
I mean, there are some seedy areas there, urban as well as rural.
Sure.
So, yeah, I've heard the term trap house, but I didn't know what it was. So I can see maybe it's just like, or just anywhere where like criminals do whatever criminal thing is: gambling, prostitution, drug dealing, manufacturing, whatever.
Oh my gosh, I'm right. Trap. Okay, I looked it up on Wikipedia. Trap is a subgenre of hip hop music. You have to know it's true if it's on Wikipedia, anyways. Trap is a subgenre of hip hop music that originated in southern United States in the 1990s. The genre gets its name from the Atlanta slang term trap house, a house used exclusively to sell drugs. Boom! Suck on that one, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you. I did something. I kind of made it up, but I guess I knew it.
It was just hiding in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Well, then where did the word see? Okay, so trap house.
Mm-hmm.
That it was
that's good.
You said
kids.
Of course, it's
trap music.
Well, you said the early 90s, right?
Yeah. It just says in the 90s.
Oh, okay. So in the 90s. Okay, but rap goes back. I don't know if Rapper's Delight is the first rap, but at least goes back to the 70s with Rapper's Delight. See, when I hear like trap as a subgenre of rap, it just seems like, well, it's like rap, but there's just T in front of it, so that like that's kind of the clever way. Like maybe it's some like portmanteau of something that starts with T and rap. So where did rap come from?
I don't know, well, with this trap stuff, I was going to read some pioneers. So some pioneers of the genre include producers Curtis Mantronic, Manny Fresh, Shoddy Red, Fat Boy, Zaytoven, DJ Screw.
I also found that one amusing.
DJ Screw and Toomp, along with rappers Young Jeezy, Gucci Mane, and T.I. And so with T.I., who coined the term with his 2003 album Trap Music with a Z and Muzik.
I literally only know T.I. because Weird Al did a parody of one of his songs.
You can have whatever you like.
Yes, but
you can have all the toppings you like.
I'll share my government cheese. You can have as much as you like. But so this guy coined the term trap, and I honestly I assumed I guess that album was like 2011. I assumed that he was just an up and coming artist. So maybe that guy he probably started in the 90s. I don't know. Who knows? It was a different time. Like it seems quaint before we get back to the main post, but there seemed to be a time when rappers would start rapping, and then a few years later they would get their deal to have their first EP or something, instead of just like a rapper starts rapping, 4 weeks later they meet Kanye West, P. Diddy, Nicki Minaj, and now they have a number one record.
Mm-hmm.
So I got right here, though, the English verb rap has various meanings. These include to strike, especially with a quick, smart, or light blow, as well to utter sharply or vigorously, to rap out a command. So it seems like that's where it came from. Rap was used to describe talking on records as early as 1970 on Isaac Hayes' album To Be Continued. Isaac Hayes, of course, chef from South Park.
Oh, gosh.
With the track name Monologue, Ike's Rap, it looks like it says Ike's Rap 1. I can't tell if that's a 1 or an I. So it looks like Chef was the person that coined rap as a term. So see, rap looks like it came from just the language. Rap out a command. Utter sharply or vigorously, makes sense. But trap. See, I assumed it was a portmanteau, but it turns out nope. Trap comes from drug dens.
Exactly. Yep. I mean,
and it doesn't even make any sense. Like that no. Just, it's like, how is it not rap anymore?
So guess what? So I'll fast forward a little bit. Do you remember our one-eyed monster friend?
Is it Fetty Wap?
Yeah. So Fetty Wap, in May 2015, trap music once again surfaced to the top of mainstream music charts as New Jersey rapper Fetty Wap's hit single, Trap Queen, peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 chart.
I remember hearing that title, Trap Queen, because I remember people, ironically, ? Using that term to describe women, like she's a trap queen, and I didn't know what that meant. I always literally
thought she was just like a trap or something, like for your money or something. Or
no, I thought. See, you knew the association was something negative. I only knew it associated with rap, so I assumed it was someone that liked that type of music, like a trap queen, like
it's a trap.
Yeah, like someone who was like really into Return of the Jedi.
Exactly. And so I forgot about Fetty Wap. Didn't he get in trouble for something at
Wasn't he doing something with like a baseball, Like he was running
Huh.
drugs or something with like baseball players. For some
Oh yeah,
reason, I'm thinking,
he got caught at Shea Stadium in New
okay,
York where the Mets play.
okay, yeah,
Before
yeah,
a
yeah.
concert, he had brought like wasn't it like enough drugs to like kill everyone a million times over. I mean, I don't like when they say stuff like that, but it's like he had a lot of stuff on him. All right,
Yeah, because it's
I
all
could have got the whole United States high. Like, all
yeah,
right, like let's be real about this. It just had a lot.
yeah. There's 300 million people in the country, and a lot of them are either small children or elderly. Like, okay, yeah, it wouldn't take much to
Yeah,
get them, but
we
still,
get the
there's
drugs are
no.
going to poison people.
Yes. That, yeah. And it's funny because I forgot about that completely and you brought it up like, it's all kind of coming
It's
back to me.
connected. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little deeper than we thought.
But I have one response here. I don't think this is the reason why, but it does add a little bit of a little piece of the puzzle.
Mm.
The Telecommunications Act of 1996 deregulated the radio industry, which allowed large companies to own vastly greater numbers of radio stations than they were permitted to before. This led to massive consolidation of radio station ownership under one or two companies, the biggest being iHeartRadio, which was formerly known as Clear Channel. This put an end to stations that were programmed by local employees who understood the particular tastes and musical history of their region. Central standardized playlists meant that even rock and alternative format radio stations were now being centrally programmed by corporate headquarters. This led to a decade-long period of dominance for groups like the Lumineers, Imagine Dragons, and One Republic. Most of these groups are Christian, many are Mormon, and their music sounds much more like contemporary Christian music or CCM than most of what got played on rock stations before 2008 or so. While this was happening, the software that musicians used to create music on their personal computers became very popular and easy to pirate. Very powerful and very easy to pirate. Apple's success with the iPod led to a successful line of laptops, which became the primary instrument that young artists started using to create music. Trap is best understood as the sound of this software. It is much easier to make an entire song with a DAW than it is to find 2 to 3 other trained musicians willing to form a band with you. And if you succeed in making something people enjoy, a solo DAW producer has to split the proceeds with fewer people. The economics haven't favored rock bands for some time. You can also see this dynamic play out in other genres like R&B, which has become increasingly digital despite the importance of live instruments to the classic sound of the genre, and even country, where auto-tune and looped beats are much more common than fiddles or steel guitars. To make matters worse, touring is now much more expensive than it was in the 80s when American hardcore punk scene established the foundations for all underground rock scenes that broke into the mainstream during the 90s. Gas is more expensive, rent is more expensive, police surveillance has become much more extensive and technologically sophisticated, which makes it harder than it's ever been to have DIY shows or even loud practice sessions without angering off, I'm censoring myself, entitled
Okay.
homeowners and getting the police called. It's just not really possible for working class people to band together into groups to play shows and go on tours the way it was. And rock music requires active scenes to harden musicians' chops and inspire them to evolve their sound. Under 20-year-olds have plenty of interest in the aesthetic of rock music, which remain popular in the mainstream even as the actual sound and practice of rock music disappears. They would absolutely be starting bands and touring and pushing the sound forward if it were possible for working class teenagers to do that without losing prohibitively large amounts of money. Over where I live in the UK, rock bands continue to be a bit more popular than they are in America because we still have public owned radio stations that will play new young bands as well as government support for the arts and a smallish landmass where cities are much closer together and therefore easier, cheaper to tour. It would theoretically be possible to turn the US rock situation around with some focused intervention, but the government there doesn't seem to have the appetite to do anything but orally service lobbyists for entrenched oligopolies. It's all a bit sad, really. There were a few things that I had a problem with in that. I don't know if you did. I'll let you go first.
I mean, I thought, I don't know, it's interesting. But
he basically said it's too expensive for rock, and because people can make songs digitally, that just means it's easier to be a rapper. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: you need to be, before you go on, you need to have talent to play rock and roll. You do not need any talent to be a rapper.
Correct.
You do not need to know how to do anything. Like, you get a rhyming dictionary, you could probably have Chat GPT make all your rhymes for you. Like, it doesn't take anything. All these computer programs, they make drum beats. You can probably make easy enough. Like, you don't even need to make your own beats as far as like drums and bass. You can just steal it from other people now. Like, you can steal from Vanessa Carlton. Like, it's a thing that rap has been doing for almost 40 years.
Oh, you don't think it's original content?
I mean, some of it is, but I'm just saying you don't even need to make original content.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what this person's saying, but go ahead.
No, with like the rock bands or metal bands, an actual band, not only do you have all the members, but you also have guitar technicians, drum techs. You have, like, there's just so many more relationships you have to manage. Live, yeah. But even,
well, you don't need to
record an album.
Well, but you don't need to. You can have your drummer be his own drum technician. You have the guitar player be his own guitar technician.
You can, but wouldn't you rather the artist to focus on just the music and playing the shows and just showing up? I mean, depends on the person, but I doubt you have.
Well, how hard do you think it is to tune your guitar and check?
I think if you're like Lars Ulrich, it might be a little tough to get into the nooks and crannies and make sure everything's tightened up. I think he needs a step stool or someone a little taller. Who knows?
That's true. But he's got a big kit, But exactly. but they can afford it. Mm-hmm. So this guy is saying that working class people can't really afford to do that. Well, if you're working class, and you're struggling, you're going paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, you probably can't hire drum, bass, guitar technicians, but you can do it yourself. Like, you drummer, check your own drums, guitar player, check your own guitar, bass player, check your own bass.
That's true.
I mean, there's always economical ways to do things. Like, you as a band, like, if you're listening and you have your band and you're still working class, you do not need to have the same setup that Black Sabbath had. Sure, or Metallica has now. Yeah, because Black Sabbath has in 1978, whatever. Yeah, you don't have to be at the top to put on a good show.
Okay, that's fair. And you can record online too. You don't even have to physically be in the same recording area. Especially with the advent of technology, which I think that's the way to combat maybe the rap to an extent, because that's what they're using. So why don't, you shouldn't let the the perfect be the enemy of the good? You can send tracks to each other.
But this guy, I think this guy's his whole thing, this guy's talking about how it's an economic thing, but and I have glanced at, to see what rappers are popular, and I only recognize a handful of them, and the reason I do, it's pretty much just because we've talked about them before,
right?
Or we've planned on talking about them. When this guy's saying, when the radio declined and everything became more expensive, well, it all kind of collapsed, but it was easy to make music digital, so all these rappers could do it, and you have two radio stations that, instead of saying, what do the kids like, they're just putting this stuff out. Pretty much all of this is money. But don't you kind of create your own economy when you push whatever art is just out there? Like, if you just take a handful of things, and then you just put it in front of people to be consumed, like that's what they start liking. So in a way it pays for itself because of digital. Like what Andy said. He said like, oh, it's so easy now because of the undo button.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can make songs really efficiently. Like it's not that expensive anymore because of digital stuff. Like all you need is a decent PC, and that's it. Like a PC and an interface. So recording, it's not as expensive as it was. It's still pretty cheap. I'm sure there's still plenty of people that go to like trap shows or whatever you want to call it. But I think people still prefer the live rock. People like rap because it's in front of them.
Yeah, and I think there's another part too, because let's take like Poison for example. Like you used to go to a Poison show because there'd be girls there. Like you'd meet them. The music was whatever. Now I think the Cardi B thing is starting to connect with me because she was a stripper, and now they're putting her on stage. And it's like it's not really for the music. Now it's like a show that you're watching pornography in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to meet people. You're going to visually watch and consume this otherwise, pornography. And you might get
but here's the problem though, because you watch the videos like WAP or Bongos and you say, what's the demographic? Like, what's the target audience? And obviously it's like, okay, it's horny 16-year-old boys, but they're not going to these concerts like, oh, it's like a peep show. Like it's not like they have those burlesque shows where there like is an overt sexuality to it. Like you're going to watch something like it's very sexual, but there's somewhat of an artistic performance. That's not who's going to those shows. Those shows, it's always like 12-year-old girls. Like it's because you watch it and it's like, okay, this is for horny boys, but that's not who's at the concert.
No,
it's almost always like, I bet if you looked up the demographics of the concerts for Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion, it's probably 75% female.
Yes.
And you would think like, oh, okay, so the guys should be going there because all the girls are going. Yeah, but the tickets are like $500. It's not like you go see Poison when it's $5 down at the Whiskey in 1986 or something, or they move up and they're like, oh, let's go see Poison. How much is it? It's $30. And like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of chicks there. It's a completely different world. Like everything about it, it's backwards. See, and that's where I think this guy is wrong about everything. I think this guy is trying to justify it. When the answer is like, why is there no rock? Like literally, it all disappeared. And it's not because it's not popular. It's because it was replaced. They replaced it with rap. Rap is so much easier to produce, but it's not like someone is like, yeah, I'll produce your album for you. Yeah. How much? $200 for the whole album. No, like these producers, they're charging like probably 6 figures to produce an album.
Yeah, and
So
they're hiring other producers, so it's like 5 producers on one because I can't apparently make this song without XYZ producer.
How many producers did Lizzo have? It was like 20 or something?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and they're not all just like, just
No.
give me $50 or something. No, I'm sure it's like top dollar. Gosh, I've never thought about this. Like, what do you think the budget of one of these albums is? Like, I just want to find
album.
Yeah. Okay. Lizzo first album budget.
Gotta be like, I'd say like $3 million.
Yeah. I've never thought about this. Cost to produce newest Lizzo album, because that Bongos video was like, it was a couple million. And there's no way it actually cost that much, because the song was like 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. It wasn't a lot.
No, they were using one like stage the whole time too, and there's no. I don't think there were other actors.
Well, there were backup dancers, but how much are you paying them? It can't. I'm sure you have to pay to get the choreography down. You had to get the choreography for that.
Choreography is important.
But it can't be that expensive. So I can't find anything for this, like, because if you like look up a movie like
you can
whatever
see the budget,
like new Steven Spielberg movie, like, a budget is 60 million, like it'll be like the first thing that comes up, but I can't find anything. So but there's no way that these albums, like I produced my album, like not counting the cost of my guitar and my amp and my bass and all that stuff, not counting that. Like, it was literally just the cost of the program that I recorded it on. That was it. So I made the album for $700. Oh yeah, but didn't you have your computer? Okay, yes, my computer was somewhat expensive. So we'll say with my computer and all the instruments and the program, maybe like $6,000. But that's not factored into the budget. Like, literally, it was just the cost of the program. And I'm not saying, everyone should just do that, get as cheap as possible. Because I still don't quite know all the intricacies of mixing and mastering. If I paid someone to do that, it would sound way better. But there's a cap where at a certain point, you're just paying for someone's name to be on something. Like, there is no way that paying someone $100,000 is going to get you something better than someone that might charge like $2,000. Like, let's say you go down to like UCLA or something like that, like some really good school, and you're in the audio department, like someone who's learning audio engineering, and you say, "Hey, who here is who's the big dog here? I would like you to mix and master an album for me, and I will pay you." It cannot be that much better. Like someone who's like one geography class away from graduating. They cannot be that much worse than one of these 11 rappers. All right, this special by Lizzo. All right, to produce. Yes, it's like 20. Yes, like some of the songs. I wasn't sure.
Do you see the personnel on that album? There's close to 100 people listed, like going from bass programming, drums, horns arrangement, trombone person. And then
how do you need this many drummers?
And
how do you need this many keyboardists? Well, okay, the violin. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna give that a break?
I will give that a break. No. The thing is, it's possible that with the multiple violins, they did like something orchestral, where they had multiple violins playing at the same time. That's possible.
Okay. What about a vocoder? A vocoder is a category of speech coding that analyzes and synthesizes the human voice signal for audio data compression, multiplexing, voice encryption, or voice transformation.
You know who famously used the vocoder, right?
Is it like I don't know.
Peter Frampton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a vocoder.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So are there multiple people using that?
I only see one so far.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that thing.
Yes. Yeah. I am giving the break to the multiple violinists, because there's also like violas and cellos.
So there was vocals.
There was probably a song where they had an orchestra
And
or maybe a few.
is there even someone playing the flute?
Yeah, she plays the flute on track 2.
Track
just
2.
track 2. I don't know if she's playing it on the other ones. Yeah, I didn't look at that. Yeah, okay, so and with all this personnel, and it's not like a rock band, like, hey, here's the song, here's the riffs. All right, you got it? Okay, cool. They probably had to do a lot of rehearsals for this, a lot of practice. Like, especially if you have this many. So this album, and I want to give it some praise for the amount of effort put into it, but at the same time, it's effort put into this. Like, imagine, like, have you ever had like a really fancy like hamburger, like something like that you paid like $50 or $60 for?
I don't think I paid more than like $20 for a cheeseburger.
Okay, like imagine like you went to like some celebrity chef's restaurant, and then there was like a really expensive burger.
Okay.
And it's made with like the best ingredients, like hand
like a
rolled.
Mastro's burger or something.
Something. Yeah, I don't know if that exists. I'm assuming, because if they have $100 steaks, I assume they probably have $50, $60 cheeseburgers. Like they get like fresh cheese that was made that morning, and like the lettuce that was just picked. Like just everything is like to the nines. And imagine that, like, this to me is the equivalent of something like that, but made with the same stuff they used to make a McDonald's burger. Like,
okay.
After like all that effort, and you just made junk food.
Yeah.
Because that's what this
literally.
genre is. Yeah, this is just junk food. Like your brain thinks it's getting some music out of it, but it's not. Like when you eat at McDonald's, like it's still calories, but like your brain doesn't realize you're not really getting nutrition. Like you're getting like plastic, you're getting like bleached bread, you're getting like vegetables that are so processed. There's probably like no actual like vitamins or minerals in it because they've just been frozen and just the cells all exploded. Like you're not getting anything. So this Lizzo album, like for all the, I really wish I could find how much
I'm looking
it cost.
too.
Yeah, I can't find it. I'm sure it's available. I just can't find it.
Did you see the label it was released on?
Oh gosh. It's gonna be Atlantic?
Yeah.
Our buddies in Atlantic.
Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
It goes deep from, remember, in 1947, Ahmet Ertegun and Herb Abramson, founding members of Atlantic Records. And where was that? Washington, D.C., right, is where they're located. Yeah, interesting.
Seems to be.
I don't care about what happened in the 60s and 70s, DJ and AC. I don't care. I don't care about Lizzo. I don't care. Like, get out. Like, they expect you not to care.
Yeah, it's like, still going on. It's literally the same thing.
Wake up.
They put this stuff in front of you to tell you this is what you like. Now, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, no, those Laurel Canyon bands, that was great. Yeah. Okay. Well, can you make the same argument for Lizzo? Can you make the same argument for Cardi B?
Yeah, the list continues. You can't. It's
the
same thing. It's literally the same thing.
Yeah, it's overproduced crap, and like we were talking about the concerts. It's not like them coming. It's not like when you go see Iron Maiden and it's like it's a show and it's a spectacle. Like, you ever been to a show in Vegas?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a big event. Like, you go there and you're like, oh wow, I see why this is a thing. It's not the same when you see Lizzo and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. It's the same level of production. It's as elaborate, but it's not worth the penny. They just spend a lot of money on it. If you gave me $100 million to say, let's just say make a Broadway play. something that I know absolutely nothing about, but I have to spend $1 million, and I can't just like give someone $1 million and give me a monologue for an hour. Like I can't do that. Like I have to make 3 acts. I have to have costumes. I have to have sets, and I have to have actors. But it has to cost $100 million. I'm sure I would find a way to make it look expensive, but it would have no substance. I've never seen a Broadway play. I've seen clips of it because, you know, like they have, you can find like clips of like Hamilton the musical on.
I've actually seen the Book of Mormon on Broadway.
Sure, yeah. That's one of them, and I know a lot of people like that one. I don't know what it costs to make that, but I'm sure it's not cheap. But $100 million seems really steep. And if you're going to see one of these oh gosh, we've never done it. Okay, Cardi B concert ticket prices. All right, let's just see. All right. So she is. Oh, okay. Well, this is something. TikTok in the mix. Now I can get tickets for $24. Now this is at a baseball stadium. So this is the lawn.
The nosebleeds.
Yeah. So okay, it's not that expensive. It's about $100. So not the worst.
What I pulled up was in 2019, Cardi B revealed in an Instagram post that she was making $300,000 per show from from festival performances and one-off concert gigs.
And now here's the question. Is that what she was making, or is that what they were giving her? But still, $300,000 a show. Like, and if you just, you know, do 10 shows a year. Now, I had heard that Iron Maiden got $1 million a show. And then this was years ago. I don't know what. Yeah, so that was what I heard. Is years ago they were given $100 a show. Now that wasn't Bruce Dickinson gets $1 million. $1 million. Yeah, it's not Bruce Dickinson gets $1 million. Adrian gets $1 million. Yannick gets $1 million. Dave, Steve, Nico, they get $1 million. No, it's like they get $1 million divided amongst the band and the crew, which that's still good money because that's a night. But that's split a lot, and I'm sure the band gets much more than the crew because, you know, they are Iron Maiden. But the crew is still it's probably a lot of people because they have to put that stage together. They have to make that big Eddie. Yeah, they have to provide them with all the stuff. And again, there's your multiple guitar techs, drum, bass, whatever. That's a lot. So.
Sound engineer, everything.
Sound engineer, yes. Yeah, I'm sure they have their own sound guys. So is Cardi B getting $300,000 a show, or is it $300,000 split among her and backup dancers, stage hands, whatever?
I mean, does she look like the type of person that's going to pay you well to be in her band?
I would guess Cardi B doesn't even think about that. I'm not kidding. I believe like
you expect to get paid.
I know. I'm sure she holds her hand out and a check comes in it, and then she doesn't ask any questions about anything else. Like her manager, probably it's probably some guy who's been in the business for like 30, 40 years, and just handles like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. And then she's like, okay. Or whatever the sound that she makes for no reason. We bring up the same people a lot, not for the obvious reasons, but because it's the same names over and over when it comes to what the music that's popular. And like if I'm in a public place and then they have just random radio playing, these are the names that I see. And I'm not hearing about, like, remember you used to hear about, like, hey, this is the hot new artist. Like, a good example was, do you remember that song, Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand?
Oh, yeah. Take Me Out.
Yeah, that one. Like when that song came out, that was played all over the airwaves, and people were touting this as a hot new band. Now that band didn't really go anywhere, but a band that did was the Killers, because they had that.
I was about to say,
somebody told me you had a girlfriend or that looked like a boyfriend or something. I don't remember how it's something like that. I know the song, I just don't know the lyrics. Okay, give me a break.
Yeah, you had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend.
I had February of last year. It's not confidential. I got potential. Russian and Russian. I only know this because of the Weird Al polka version.
Oh, that's funny.
That's how I know it. Like any pop song. Is it associated with Weird Al? No, I don't know it. That's it. But that band actually had a string of hits and stayed somewhat relevant for a while. But I'm sure they have a dedicated fan base, and it's still pretty big. It's not like the Killers, and they're playing a sold out show, 50 people at the Outback Steakhouse. No, I'm sure they're still playing big venues, but they were big for a small window, and they still had a string of hits after, but they're not what they're talking about in music anymore. It's all rap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And it's not just like the rap is what's big. It's the same like 10 people over and over. So going back to this guy saying like, well, it's easier to do this. Well, then we'd see a bigger variety in it. But the reason you don't see a big variety in rap names is because none of it is interesting. Like you hear one, you've heard it all. It's all the same. It's literally just comes down to whose voice is different. And I mean literally, and I don't mean like the metaphorical voice, like, his voice, he's the voice of blah, blah. No. I mean like literally, what do they sound like? What do their vocals give off? And that's the only difference, because like on one hand, you got these women singing about how they're prostitutes. And then on the other hand, you have these men singing about killing people. There's no real in between. But I found a very, very, I didn't find it. I remember it when it was, we had a buddy in high school that for a small window in time, he got into NWA. I don't know why. I could never quite tell if he thought it was funny or if he genuinely liked it. But he did like it. And I just randomly remembered this. And I'm going to read the lyrics. Are you ready for this? This is called Express Yourself by NWA. Are you ready, DJ?
I am ready.
All right.
A song for this week.
No. I'm reading you the lyrics.
Oh.
No. Yeah, we're not taking a break yet. We're reading the lyrics.
Oh. I was ready to go.
No. You're ready. I mean, you strap in. I don't think you're going to be ready for these lyrics. By NWA.
Never am.
By NWA. Oh no, this is. I'm going to throw you a curveball. NWA from Straight Outta Compton. Here we go. Yo, man, it's a lot of brothers out there flaking and perpetrating, but scared to kick reality. Man, you've been doing all this dope producing. You ain't had a chance to show them what time it is. So what you want me to do, express yourself. I'm expressing with my full capabilities, and now I'm living in correctional facilities. Because some don't agree with how I do this, I get straight, meditate like a Buddhist. I'm dropping flavor, my behavior is hereditary, but my technique is very necessary. Blame it on Ice Cube because he says it gets funky when you got a subject and a predicate. Add it on a dope beat, and that'll make you think. Some suckers just tickle me pink to my stomach because they don't flow like this one. You know what? I won't hesitate to diss one or two before I'm through, so don't try to sing this. Some drop science while I'm dropping English. Even if Yella makes it a cappella, I still express, yo. I don't smoke weed or cess because it's known to give a brother brain damage. And brain damage on the mic don't manage nothing, but making a sucker and you equal, don't be another sequel. Express yourself. Now, this is where it gets kind of silly.
Yeah, I see it.
Express yourself. Oh, yeah. Express yourself. Smoke. Come on, do it. Yeah, kick it over here. Express yourself. Do it, do it. Express yourself. Come on and do it. Next verse. Now getting back to the PG, that's program and it's easy. Dre is back, new jacks are made hollow. Expressing ain't their subject because they like to follow. The words, the style, the trend, the records I spin, again and again and again, yo, you on the other end. Watch a brother blend dope rhymes with no help. There's no fessing and guessing while I'm expressing myself. It's crazy to see people be what society wants them to be, but not me. Ruthless is the way to go, they know. Others say rhymes that fail to be original, or they kill where the hip hop starts. Forget about the ghetto and rap for the pop charts. Though some musicians cuss at home, but scared to use profanity when up on the microphone. Yeah, they want reality, but you won't hear none. They'd rather exaggerate a little fiction. Some say no to drugs and take a stand, but after the show they go looking for the dope man. Or they ban my group from the radio, hear NWA and say hell no. But you know it ain't all about wealth as long as you got to make a note to express yourself. I'm not going to keep reading, but this song, there's no swearing in the song.
No, there isn't. Yeah. It's a clean song, apparently.
From NWA, from Straight Outta Compton. It's not like in their twilight years where like, hey, let's slow it down. Let's no. But I did think it was funny because there's the line like, express yourself, smoke, yeah, kick it over here. But then he says, some say no to drugs and take a stand, but after the show they go looking for the dope man. Well, you sound. I think I know what he's saying. He's saying like these musicians that are doing the say no to drugs, but they're, they're all hypocrites. Like, but the song is about like, being real and whatnot. This is it's about. So Dr. Dre was disavowing marijuana in this song. But then his self-titled album is called The Chronic.
The Chronic. Yeah,
I don't want to trip them up too much. Like, hi, you hypocrites, because there are more hypocritical things in the music industry.
Oh, sure. Yeah, this was 1988.
Yeah. So this album, the song on this album, it is the standout song, and it is a contradiction because Straight Outta Compton is a very violent song. It is basically a call to arms, like, hey, they're out to get us in the hood, so now we need to fight back. And then there's this song that's just like, express yourself, do something positive. Like it says, like I meditate like a Buddhist. I get straight.
Yeah, it kind of reminded. Oh, you go ahead.
Well, my final thought on this was this doesn't exist anymore. Because they used to have things like this. Like rappers used to have these kind of intellectual moments to try to paint them as these smart poets. Like they're actually like you don't understand them. Like they're coming out with like all this violent lyrics and even violent imagery, but really these are guys. They're smart guys. They're intelligent people. Like their lives have been rough, so their music is a reflection of that. But look, they have songs like this, and like, oh geez, I guess there's more to them. Like Tupac is the perfect example, but they don't need to do that anymore. Like now they just grab a criminal. Like you don't need to find people and make them. Like Tupac is 100% just he was manufactured. He was only ever meant to be this type of figure. So now that's all done. You're still going to have people making that argument. Like, oh no, these rappers are actually really smart. Blah, blah, blah. No, like we'll get to more lyrics later.
Oh yeah.
But the facade of the poet rapper is all gone. Because they're talking about drill rappers as though they're still intelligent. But like these are just people talking like, yo, I got a 9 and I put 9 in him. Yeah, bitch. That's the song.
They just say the same words over and over. Stop capping, capping.
No bussin'.
Who's capping? No, yeah. Attica.
Attica. Part 4. but we'll just end the hour on this while we're on NWA. And this is funny. Like, we got our work cut out for us, and we really need to step our game up if we're going to compete, because Suge Knight starting a podcast from prison entitled Collect Call, addressing all beefs.
Yeah, we'll get into that the second hour, because that's going to be exciting to get into that article and that type of news.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you, though, and then this is still tied to that initial Reddit post, where it just shows you, like, you can make a podcast from prison.
I was gonna joke that we, as part of our career, we need to go to jail because you can record the best albums from jail.
Yep.
Apparently, the best podcast. Because, all right, I played the trailer for that podcast, and it might have cost $1 million to make that trailer. Like, no joke. Like, you have a huge film production. Like, how? I don't know. We'll get into that.
They're still promoting it, and it's clearly it's not an economic thing, because let's say it is really cheap, and it is to make rap, especially with how easy it is and how accessible it is to get good audio programs. But they spend so much money on marketing them.
Oh yeah,
like that's what it all comes down to, is the marketing. It's because you can make anything popular as long as the marketing is good. So
we've seen that.
Yeah, the reality is it's not that it's cheaper to do, because it's not. I guarantee you, it's way more expensive. Because it's not like rock bands have disappeared. Like, people are still forming metal bands. They're still out there. Like, if you live near a big city, just look for like whatever, like bars or whatever, places that do live music. Just check their schedules, and I'm sure you'll find that there'll be like classic, like thrash, death, black metal sounding bands playing near you. I'm sure. Like, unless you live in Hawaii or Alaska or Puerto Rico, like something that's like really remote, where you probably would have to wait for a big band I don't know if big bands play in Alaska. I couldn't tell you. I've never thought about it. But apart from that, like, if you live in New York, Chicago, Dallas,
LA.
Austin, Houston, Los Angeles for sure, Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, Seattle. I know metal is like basically like dead in Vegas, so that one you might be out of luck. Maybe Reno, but all like the big cities, yeah, because that's what someone was telling me, that when Slayer would play in Vegas, they would play the House of Blues. Like, it was, it was just like it's metal is just nothing in Vegas. But the other big cities, I'm sure it's not hard to find good metal bands. Denver, another one.
Yeah, Denver's good.
Yeah, just check. Like, and I'm only saying this, like, if you don't know, like, you're probably listening, like, yeah, I know, like, I go all the time. I play in many of them. But for those that are the uninitiated, which is probably a lot less than you'd think. I think most people are pretty dialed in to local music at this point, just because it's something that's really good for you. Like, you do feel good going to see those live performances.
Oh yeah, and the people you meet there too. Like, it's not like you're behind a computer. You get to say hi to people, and maybe not have the luxury of being safe behind a keyboard to say mean things to someone or something. You gotta communicate in person and get along, or else they'll beat you up if you say something mean, I guess.
Yeah. People are more lose that. People are more respectful in real life.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's where real connections are made, Go out to a show.
Yeah. Go find one. Go find one.
If you want, we'll give you a list. Tell us where you live. Give us your address, your social security number. We'll just
credit card number. But yeah, I'll put in the legwork. Yeah, if you message me, I'll find some bands in your area that sound pretty good. I'll do that for you.
Yep. See,
first 100 will be free. Just like honestly, like if 10,000 people message me at a certain point, I will charge. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, if you message me at this point, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I will do it. I will genuinely look.
Yeah, we can always link it on our Discord too. We have a tab for upcoming releases, shows. So go. You do need an invite for that. It is invite only, so you can reach out. We can either send it to you or not. But we're pretty nice. If you're cool, you can get on there, and we can kick people out if they're not nice. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. So don't worry about someone coming in and raining on your parade. We will step in, and we are not going to let people be jerks, but again, we're not gonna handhold people and baby them. There's a nice adult balance.
Yes.
But DJ, what song do you have for us?
All right, I'm really excited for this one. We got this incredible group, this band out of Japan. All right, and the song is entitled "Rock Will Never Die" by Marching Out. I don't think this could be a more perfect time for this song and this band, but go check them out. Marching Out. The song is titled "Rock Will Never Die." Thanks again for letting us play this, guys, and we'll see you on the other side.